Had a good game for you on Saturday, and he's got that long streak of receptions going back a long time. He's a guy you've known for a long time. How do you feel like his season has gone, and is it kind of what you expected from him when you brought him in here?
Yeah, I thought he's had a really, really good season. He came in spring ball and he did a great job of helping everybody else in that room learn the offense and was outstanding. And then he got injured in camp, and he didn't even start the first game of the year. But then he ended up keep getting going and starting, and he's really smart. He's extremely quick, changes directions real well. And he's done a nice job of running after the catch. The play he made on that long third down to get extra yards after the catch is what allowed us to go for it on fourth down. So I think he's played really well for us, and he's a really good kid to be around. He's very, very mature and has had his life in line, knew what he was going to do like 5 years ago. He's pretty amazing.
And it seems like C.J. Brown hasn't showed up as much the last few games, at least from a stat perspective. Is there something he needs to do better these last two games, or what are you seeing from him over the last few weeks?
Yeah, we've been working hard on getting him to, do everything exactly right and full speed. And, he's been a little bit inconsistent. I thought he made a really nice catch the other day across the middle, which would have gave us – it was on the drive that we went down and missed the field goal. But he's very, very capable. We've got to give him more opportunities, and he's got to, get open more, do a better job of getting open.
Coach, another wide receiver question for you. Omega Blake, his production in the last 2 weeks has kind of dropped off. What have you seen out of him the last couple of games?
The same thing, not getting as open as he was and not being able – we're calling his number, and we're not getting the production that we need, and we need that production. That has been a big part of our offense all year.
And we asked you about Shelton. Pringle was also got a lot of action. Courtney Crutchfield, a lot of young guys. Was that by design, or was it maybe just more set up by like the injuries? Cam Settles was another one. Was that by design, or was it kind of a something that just kind of happened?
Yeah, I think it's something that Courtney earned in practicing, and he's shown it like for the last 3 weeks. And I made a decision to make sure that you rotate him in and give him reps. And he came up with a really nice catch, big play for us. But he's been practicing really well, no question about it. Pringle, we had a young man get sick and not be able to play, and I thought he stepped in there and competed hard. And he's been practicing better too, and doing a good job. Cam's been playing really well all year long on special teams, doing a really nice job for us, and really unselfish young guy, had the opportunity to continue to play on special teams and turn the red shirt away. And he's going to be a really good football player. What he possesses is the ability to protect the quarterback, and that gets you on the field a lot more. But I'd like to see him carry the ball more.
And then one more young guy. I'm wondering about KJ Jackson. Is he a guy you might want to try to get some looks at the last couple of weeks, or is it still kind of Taylor's show?
Yeah, you do think about it and talk about it and do that, but I think we're just going to see how practice plays out and, play whoever we feel has the best chance to let us win.
On the other side of the ball, Texas, Pete Kwiatkowski and his defense, just maybe your thoughts on his job as a unit this year.
Yeah, I got a lot of respect for Pete. He's been doing it for a long, long time. I think he goes back to Boise State, and when I remember that. He's a really good defensive coordinator, has a great package, does a nice job mixing it up on you. We've got to be on top of it. We've got to do a good job of communicating up front.
And then, Taylor and the interceptions, even though he's thrown more this year, do you still feel like, he's had certain areas of progression from last year, even though that some of the interception numbers may not have gone down?
Yeah, there's no question that he's had progression from a year ago. He's got to get rid of the interceptions, the unforced ones, which I felt both of them were unforced the other day. And, you're going to throw interceptions at a quarterback at times, but those two should not have been.
Bobby, you've been really effusive with, all the buy-in you've gotten from your players and what's at times been a difficult situation. You haven't really had a chance to reflect on, at least publicly, on what it's meant to you for some of the comments these kids have made and in support of you and how hard they're competing. Do you have a thought on that?
it's a hard situation to jump into and have to take over like that. You know, my first thing is to say that they need to make a new law that you can't do that in the middle of the year. That would be a great thing for everybody. You know, probably not going to happen, especially now that there'll be 9 conference games. Can you imagine that now? 9 conference games in this conference, and they're going to have to keep building a pot to pay off guys. You know, that's going to be incredible. So I feel like, boy, this has been a hard experience. But then when they look at it the other side, I feel like, you know what, this has been pretty cool. I get to really get to know the defensive players, get to relax a little bit, make sure they get to know me. I think it's been, you know, all about trying to get them to continue to improve themselves, continue to put a better resume on video. And they've really bought into the fact that they believe they watch themselves, they believe themselves being better and playing better and giving them better opportunity for whatever the future brings. I think they've bought into that, and that's been pretty cool.
Another question on the Texas rivalry. You know, this is a newer generation where even like their parents, if they have ties to the state, you know, maybe don't even remember seeing that game played, and the transfer portal aspect, or maybe kids from Texas being overlooked coming to Arkansas. There's not as much of that anymore. Is it any harder to put over the rivalry to your players now than maybe it would have been years ago?
Yeah, I think so. It certainly is a new era, college football. You know, when you do look at it, though, you look at our enrollment. We went up how much since I was here? And most of that's due to the in-state tuition for Texas kids. So there's probably more people going to school here from the state of Texas than ever at any point. But with the transfer portal and with the guys moving from school to school, you certainly don't have that old taste of growing up. I shouldn't use the word hate, but disliking another program as much as it used to be. You know, so that does make it a little bit different. We're going to try to rev it up, though, and make them dislike them more.
J.J. Shelton, if I remember correctly, in the fall, he did most of his reps at safety or hog, but was playing linebacker. I know it was a pass coverage situation, but do you think that debate about maybe what his future position is still up, or is he more settled in at linebacker maybe moving forward?
No, he's not a linebacker. That's a dime package, so he's in there playing that spot in just that dime package where you take a hog, which used to be called nickel. Now everyone wants to call him their nickname. But it used to be a nickelback, you know. Some people called it a star. I think that's when it was a bigger guy. We at one time called it, what did we call it? Cinco. Cinco was for the greatest player that ever lived, Jericho Nelson. Man, did he know how to play Cinco. But yeah, that's his position more than a linebacker.
Do you remember who some of those players were at your fantasy camps that kind of spoke specifically about not, forgetting the losses as much as the wins?
I do remember who they are, but I'm not going to bring them up. I still like those guys a lot. So they're still hurting, and I understand it.
Did the tape show whether or not Wooden or Simmons got that pump block, both of them, you know?
Yeah, it looked like Wyatt got it, and then Wooten picked it up and scored. But they were both there, so it's hard to tell if it hit both their arms or didn't.
You referenced Malik Muhammad, the Texas corner. So last week, Monsieur Delane came in with some hype, but y'all kind of went on him, and he made a bunch of plays. I mean, do y'all take that into consideration? Do we want to attack this guy or not attack a guy?
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you have to understand who's where and how good they are. No question. Coach, appreciate you. All right, thanks, guys.